Good evening, friends. For those of you that are joining us this evening on the live broadcast here on Israeli News Live, this is also being filmed for Fact News Network. And it's a very serious evening and a very serious broadcast that we have to do. Last night, when President Trump, of course, he had tweeted that all was well. We did not suffer casualties of the U.S. troops after Iran had retaliated in its own missile launch, ballistic missile launch from Iran's soil on two American bases in Iraq. We kind of felt comfortable in not trying to stay up through the hours last night after seeing the president's tweet that he would address the nation tomorrow morning after the assessment of damage had been done, but the initial assessment seemed to be in the interest of the American people. And also the president, of course, had sent his message to the Iranian people by taking out what the president of the United States deemed as a terrorist, the world's leading terrorist, referring to General Qasem Soleimani. We've shared with you already our thoughts and opinions about this attack. We have certainly given you the information that it is true. General Soleimani, under his direction, trying to stop U.S. force advancement during the Iraq War, would have ordered his soldiers that would have cost American lives. There's no question about that. It's a theater of war. Whether or not we could classify that as terrorism or not, that's up to the those that are in that particular field to decide. It's not mine to decide. The President of the United States today at 11 a.m. addressed the nation, and I have listened in when the president was addressing the nation, and I've gone back and listened to this even more so since then. I have waited till I heard from my own sources about this. My Middle East source was able to confirm, as the president did say to the nation, that there were no American casualties. Probably the only difference is, as my own source said, that was the deliberate intent of the Iranian government, that there would be no American casualties. And the reason for that, according to the Middle East source that I have, was to try to diffuse the situation, to appease the Iranian people, but yet not for this to go any further. What most of us around the world do not know is that there was a message sent with this strike by the Iranian government. It's a message that the U.S. military, the U.S. government knows. It's a message that many in the intelligence world around the world know. Israel would know this. Russia will know this. The Iranians will know this message. But unfortunately, the American public does not know. And that's what I want to address today. I'm first going to play just a few minutes of what the president had to say, and I want to listen to his words. I realize that his message is two-purpose. One, there is an admission in his message that most overlook. But at the same time, there's also, and what will appear to the American people, is that the President of the United States made a great military commander in showing restraint and not doing a counter-retaliation on the Iranian regime. But I am very concerned, friends, that is very far from the truth. It was a very wise decision, though, that we did not carry out a larger attack in a retaliation. I agree with that. I have heard, and I have not confirmed it, maybe it's already on the news, that the president is talking about removing our forces from Iraq. I think after what I share with you tonight, you'll understand why. It is in the interest, and if it's not being stated already, it would be in the interest of the safety of our troops to remove them from Iraq. Because granted, if this situation gets out of control, we don't need our troops, our men and women, sitting right there in the middle of this. I shared with you yesterday the Chinese had met with the Iraqis and offered their military support. Of course, it was kind of disguised underneath the Silk Road Initiative. I shared with you that the Russian president immediately had flew to Syria. All of this going on at a time when it looked like that Iran and the United States could end up in an all-out war. And I'm not saying that that's not going to end up going that direction eventually. It may very well go. It may just not be the time. Because as we know, General Wesley Clark has said, the intelligence brief was 7 nations would go down in 5 years. Now we know that's way off course, but it's not been without a lack of very diligent pursuit by the United States with Israel, the elite of Israel, and behind the United States to push for those actions. So let's play this, and I'm going to share with you. I've pulled up many of the former messages I've given going all the way back to June, sharing with you the intelligence sources I had then, what I said to you then, as in relation to what's happened here in the last 24 hours. Let's listen to the President of the United States, President Donald Trump.
Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Good morning. I'm pleased to inform you the American people should be extremely grateful and happy. No Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime. We suffered no casualties. All of our soldiers are safe, and only minimal damage was sustained at our military bases. Our great American forces are prepared for anything. Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. No American or Iraqi lives were lost because of the precautions taken, the dispersal of forces, and an early warning system that worked very well. I salute the incredible skill and courage of America's men and women in uniform. For far too long, all the way back to 1979 to be exact, nations have tolerated Iran's destructive and destabilizing behavior in the Middle East and beyond. Those days are over. Iran has been the leading sponsor of terrorism, and their pursuit of nuclear weapons threatens the civilized world. We will never let that happen. Last week, we took decisive action to stop a ruthless terrorist from threatening American lives. At my direction, the United States military eliminated the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani. As the head of the Quds Force, Soleimani was personally responsible for some of the absolutely worst atrocities. He trained terrorist armies, including Hezbollah, launching...
I'm not going to sit there. We won't go through the entire 9 minutes of this particular film here, but I do want to back up. I want to play the first part again. When they zoom in on the President of the United States, what I'd like for you guys to notice is the brokenness in his voice. Let's listen one more time.
Will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. Good morning. I'm pleased to inform you the American people should be extremely grateful and happy. No Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime.
Did you notice how the president seems to be broke up in his response there? Now, I want to share with you give me 1 second here. This is actually not what I want to share as of yet. Actually, what I want to share is on my phone, and my phone is doing the live broadcast for Israeli News Live. I can give you the gist of it. My Middle Eastern correspondent sent a message to me and said that the Iranian regime intentionally did not target American lives. As I mentioned, I think at the beginning of the broadcast as well. They said they wanted to send a message to the United States, to the United States military in particular, that they had the very capabilities to strike American interest in the Middle East. But the Iranians did not want a war with the United States either. And of course, the United States could and probably would have had to use nuclear force if this situation had have escalated. This is why the president also speaks in here about that the world should be grateful as well. Because the only way we could have stopped Iran, if this were to have escalated, is for the United States to revert to using either nuclear weapons or tactical nuclear weapons in such a mass array of force that we could overwhelm the S-400 system that Iran has in its possession, as well. In order to do so, that could have caused severe consequences, with China stepping up to the plate, saying that it would come in to help Iraq militarily, and of course Russia being the ally to Iran. Now, I still believe that Vladimir Putin is playing the card with Iran, with the United States, and with Israel. I do believe that there is a new world order process that will come about. But if you recall, I had shared with you guys months ago about the situation, and I'll show you the video. This is one of the videos here. This is back from September 19th of 2019. In this video right here, I talk about the very fact that the United States could not stop with the Patriot battle, could not stop those missiles from hitting the Saudi refineries. All right, this article right here that came out on NBC News, why U.S. Patriot missile failed to stop drones and cruise missiles attacking Saudi oil sites. The U.S. is having trouble defending against low-flying drones and cruise missiles after years of Pentagon focusing on longer-range threats. All kind of excuses were there. I had done a video also from my own source that requested it to go public from the Pentagon, that the Chinese had been working with the Iranians and they gave them a technology that the United States could not mitigate. I believe that that technology had everything to do with this Patriot, the Patriot battery, and the technology that had been used to overcome the Patriot batteries that we use now to defend our soldiers in uniform in the Middle East there. Since last night's attack, that has once again come up as a main question. They sidetracked it because they said the drones were flying low when it came to this time here. This diagram, depending on how well you guys can see this, I'm not sure on our live broadcast, but I'm sure over on Fact News Network you'll be able to see this, is the actual defense zone that the Saudis had to be able to stop any incoming drones, missiles, or anything else. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then another one here, 10 different systems, and those drones were able to fly right into Saudi airspace and attack those refineries back in September undetected. This was never told to the American public. Why? My own source had wrote me back then, and he had said here, and I show you the letter here, attached, please find the Saudi air defense coverage of the northern frontier, a combo of Hawk and Patriot. So they had Hawk and Patriot missile systems. I don't think further elaboration is required. A picture speaks 1,000 words. In general, shooting a missile or even a drone from the sky is a very difficult task. Americans blame Saudi operation incompetence as the cause of this, but the system did not even see them. So how are the Saudi operators supposed to react to something that is not there? Couple that with the fact, my Pentagon source, it already confirmed several other things that my Middle Eastern correspondent had shared with me. And the fact of the matter was, the Chinese had given the technology to the Iranians that we had no way to mitigate. Simply put, if the Hawk system or the Patriot battery missile system is being shot at U.S. soldiers in the Middle East, and we don't have a way to stop it, then we should be grateful. I kind of wonder whether or not the President of the United States was aware of this at all in the first place either. This was the issue that was brought out on January the 8th at 5:10 p.m., which was earlier today, about the very Patriot missile systems. They can't be everywhere at once. Why the Patriot missile interceptors were not used during Iran missile strike. And of course, we're being lied to once again. They just can't be everywhere at once. Or is this, as it was stated to me, the Chinese have given them a technology that we cannot mitigate? I don't know if that's what the technology is, or if there's something yet that we still don't know about. But the fact of the matter is, I shared that intelligence with you. I'll play that for you. Listen to this here. Real combat. That's according to the Russian army there. And as you can see in this aerial map, in fact, I'd gotten a map somewhat like this here, showing the coverage range of our U.S. Patriot battery there, and how that these missiles came in totally undetected. Now, are they Iranian missiles? I can't say. Perhaps they were. But the thing is, the big issue here is the fact that the Saudis don't have the right equipment to be able to detect those incoming missiles. And if the Saudis don't have the right equipment, where does that leave the United States if we were to end up into some type of war, whether it be Iran or even Russia? Of course, Iran, I'm sure the United States would defeat Iran pretty much hands down. But in the case of Russia, it would let us know that Russia, as they have claimed to say in the past, can totally send in missiles undetected by U.S. Intervention means that we have now. So what do you think? This has placed the United States military in a very volatile situation. And it's something that we have to fix, and we have to fix it very rapidly. I'm an American first, and I care about the safety of our troops first. I don't appreciate, I don't support the fact that we are in the Middle East in the first place. I've also stated I don't think we should just pull out of Syria and leave the Kurds at the mercy of the Turkish military. But at the same time, I realize our own men and women are in a very serious situation right now. And this is, I believe, one of the reasons why even Netanyahu began to back down the way he did. They want to carry out a new world order, and they've got plans to be able to do that, but the problem is right now that's being severely hampered when they find out the enemy has better technology than they do. Let me show you some more information. Remember Pompeo yesterday? We'll play this again for you, what Pompeo had to say about General Soleimani on a peace mission.
Let's see. So, Zarif's statement. His first statement that is Soleimani was traveling to Baghdad on a diplomatic mission. Anybody here believe that? Is there any history that would indicate that it was remotely possible that this kind gentleman, this diplomat of great order, Qasem Soleimani, had traveled to Baghdad for the idea of conducting a peace mission? I made you reporters laugh this morning. That's fantastic.
He said, I made you reporters laugh this morning. That's fantastic. Is there any kind of history about this whatsoever? November 6, 2019, Houthis bombed the UAE aligned forces. This is when I actually reported it. Okay? Let's listen into this one. I did a screenshot reporting on it. But what you're not hearing in the news as of yet is that the Houthis have acted. They were a little optimistic that there might be some type of a peace negotiations that would work out between the United Arab Emirates, the Saudis, of course. Prince Salman here, he had actually met with the Iranians and the Syrians in a secret meeting there. That has not worked out. If you remember, we had shared with you guys on our broadcast earlier, when I say earlier, a few days ago, discussing this, that the Houthis had a surprise up their sleeve in the event that things didn't go the way they thought they should go. Well, they have carried out that attack. Now, I'm going to play a little bit more of this for you here in just a moment, all right? But I want you to be able to see this. The Prince Salman, in a secret meeting, had met with Iran, with the Syrians, and with the Iraqis to try to bring about a peace negotiation over this issue in Yemen. This is from, what did we'll look at the time of it again. Let's first listen to some more. It has been confirmed by the Saudis already. It's not made news as of yet that I can see, but they have launched 4 missiles. The casualties are very high from what we have been told in our sources here this evening. Also, we mentioned to you that there was a meeting with Bukamal, and we had also mentioned Soleimani actually being in attendance with him at the secret meeting there in Tehran. Well, here are some photographs here showing. Now, I had no idea that Soleimani was going to be assassinated. And he said, is there any evidence whatsoever that this man was part of some type of a peace deal? November the 6th, 2019, Houthis bomb UAE aligned forces. This is my video on it right here. These are the pictures. This is Soleimani. This is Soleimani sitting right here. He's part of that peace negotiation deal. They were trying to bring an end to the hostilities in Yemen, Mr. Pompeo. Why you lie to the American people and say that it was not so, when here I am, little nobody here, reporting on this very event. And then what makes it worse, I get the very people that love us and support this work, they're hearing all these lies. You hear all these lies out there, people telling you that, oh no, Soleimani, he's not there for peace. Why? Because mainstream media or some other online news ministry or something is lying to you. And I knew that I had the information. I forgot about this one, though. I just happened to pull up. I was looking for the things about the Houthis because I knew I'd shared intelligence information in one of those videos. And sure enough, I actually spoke about Soleimani in that secret meeting with the photographs, no less. And I'm sharing with you something that was public online already. I'll finish this little part and we'll move on. That he actually did attend that secret meeting there. This is being published out today. So it is confirming that the source we have there has given us accurate information about this secret meeting in Iran. Of course, we'll have to just wait to see whether or not they get the results they're looking for, but allegedly this will bring about a stop in the riots in the streets of Iraq if this meeting goes well. Okay, so it was twofold. I didn't know at the time that it was also about Yemen, but it was about Yemen. It was also to stop the riots that were going on inside of Iraq. And the funny thing is my own source was telling me that Soleimani was there. To me, I never equate that Soleimani as this big, great general. I just know he's a general for Iran. It doesn't matter to me who he is, right? Now, again, this is the video where I shared with you that the Chinese, this is from June 13th, 2019, the Chinese are passing technology, capabilities to the Iranians that we do not have the ability to mitigate. This was from my own source here in the United States, all the way up to the White House. And by the way, before I do this one here, let me remind you, I'd gotten a call from my DC source, indirect line call, that had actually gotten my news about Soleimani and was he there for a peace negotiation in Iraq. And that source, that takes you all the way to the White House as well, said yes, he was. Listen to this. That as well, other things are being shared with me. And one thing I want to bring out, and very, very concerning to me, and that is that, as you can see in the title of the video here, that China is sharing technology with Iran. That's exactly right. China is sharing technology with Iran. And this is technology that is beyond U.S. capabilities. I know that may sound like a far-fetched to even hear something like that, but this is from very, very deep intelligence sources that I have given me this information there, that Chinese technology that is far beyond U.S. technology or capabilities is being shared with Iran. Now, with that being said, let me just kind of share some other things with you again. All right. Now, I can't say for sure that the technology was to be able to evade the Patriot battery, the Hawk system, all the U.S. Israeli systems. But the thing is, it appears to be that may be what that technology is. It was never told to me what the technology was. All right. All I can say is that now we can see, as the old saying goes, the proof is in the pudding. Right. That's the only thing I can say. The proof is in the pudding. And now we are seeing, once again, the question is coming up, why did not the Patriot missile system engage? Friends, we can be lied to as much as you want to be lied to. And if they tell the lie long enough, you're going to believe it. But here at Israeli News Live and at Fact News Network, we are trying to tell you the truth. It may seem unpopular, but we try to tell you the truth. And that's why I say, if you want to support the truth, please help us in getting the truth out. If you want the lies, you already know where to go to get the lies. You hear them every day. And sometimes I kind of wonder, I don't think maybe the people mean to lie. Maybe they're just that gullible in believing the lies. But one thing's for sure, the President of the United States, when he addressed the nation, the President of the United States was troubled.
Should be extremely grateful and happy. No Americans were harmed in last night's attack by the Iranian regime.
That's the first thing I noticed when he spoke today. I'm Stephen Bennun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Our address appears here at the back of the computer, if that's where you see it out there on the recorded broadcast, or down in the description below, our address. Our website, IsraeliNewsLive.org, if you want to help support the work we do here to keep truth going. Please help.